It's odd. I was just discussing earlier, like I have this question because I see things are designed. Like when you open your third eye, if you take a bunch of acid and you don't fry your mind or however you do it, um, basically all it means is you stop seeing with your eyes, right? Like Odin plucks his eyes out and now he sees the whole world because he doesn't use his eyes to see shit. The problem is you still have fucking ears and you're still gonna get raped through those. And you still have fingers, and if you, it'll force you to learn Braille and you'll get raped through the books. But, anyway, so I've got this question I always ask. How come you can tell who's a pedophile at 200 meters? You can tell who eats children at 200 meters. You can tell who's a crackhead at 200 meters away. But you can tell who is fat at 1,000 meters away. What is the difference in design here that one of these red flags is more important for the game to design for you to see at a distance over Jeffrey Dahmer? You can only tell that that person eats children within like 200 meters. Once you see the face close enough, you realize, like, yeah, it kind of looks like Donald Trump and the three other Donald Trumps I know. And every time I meet one, I'm like, this person rapes animals. This person has sex with children. I'm never confused when I see a Donald Trump. Something about that it's the same thing. It's Jeffrey Dahmer. He eats babies. He rapes little boys and then eats them, right? But at 1,000 meters, I can see the sheriff of Nottingham who collects the taxes and thinks he's the shit of the world, the best thing of the world, collects everything from everyone. He takes taxes from Jeffrey Dahmer. He takes taxes from the Pope. That's another child molester you can see at 200 meters away. It's the same face as Jeffrey Dahmer. If you haven't noticed yet, child molesters all look kind of the same. And Donald Trump's a little fat too, so he kind of blurs the line these days between child molester and whale. Previously, though, you could look at him and be like, yeah, this is a child molester. And, I try to reason it out. It's like, well, why does that happen? How do you know who is having sex with children or eating children? And it might be just a slight difference in the disgustingness on their face, but I try to rationalize, well, they look like a person who no one would ever want to have sex with. So they get desperate and they trick the only people they can into having sex with them. A 2-month-old baby, you know? And they don't know nothing about women because they're the only person they've ever met is their own body. So women are probably icky. You remember how that was kind of when you were 5, 6 years old. If you're a guy, girls were icky. We didn't hang out with them. It doesn't mean I want to have sex with them, but I sure the fuck don't know what's going on in anyone else's head. But it's just like girls. What's the point of that? So maybe there's that reason that they've never had anyone want to touch them. So that's how we know. We look at them and they're so icky, but it also, like, you can tell because they also look slimy. They look like someone who's like not only icky and can't get a woman to touch them, but like slimy, and they don't really want a woman to touch them. They want to touch a 2-month-old boy, 2-day-old, 2-minute-old boy. How is that? What is that? What do you guys think that is? And then, okay, so I ask that like pretty much every day. Like, why is it designed? Like, it seems like purposeful designs are happening here and shit. People look like what they are for a reason. And of course, the people look like what they are creating religions and governments and books and own TV studios book publishing houses, all that shit. It's the same. It's the same. Epstein, Einstein, Donald Trump people. Donald Trump's literally selling the book that tells you that looks don't matter, and he looks like a bag of fucking garbage juice. Like, there's no shape. It's just leaking fucking everywhere, and his face looks like garbage juice leaking everywhere and shit. And his people, all his people do and shit. Fucking most of them, some of them, they not, like Elon Musk and Ivanka Trump have plastic surgery, obviously. So they've been trying to defeat, make themselves look less like garbage bags full of garbage juice. Which, I mean, you can't really condemn them for that, but let's point out that they're doing it, just in case it's relevant to a conversation or something. I know in my life there's a bunch of garbage juice who gets tit implants because they look like transsexuals, and people might not know who they are, might not know they're a female unless they get tit implants. I mean, what goes on in someone's head when they do that? They definitely look at themselves and they think, "Oh, I've got to change this." Um, and this starts with someone I know from the 1940s, who I'm pretty sure did this. It didn't help them. It gave them cancer, and then they had to have their fucking the whole part of their body removed permanently. And we're obviously scared not to get it again. So, anyways, we have looks looking like what people are, and so on, because a lot of times things are like ran up to me, and it's like, why does God hate large people so much that He creates them as a big red flag? And He doesn't identify child molesters, people who eat children. You can't see Jeffrey Dahmer till you get within 200 meters. And at that point in time, this person's either raping animals, children, or eating them, or both. It's a Donald Trump. Previously, you see what I'm saying? It's hard to decide, like, is it just a child rapist, or does it eat the children it rapes too? The looks are so similar. There's really not much identification there. But there is identification. You can see that you see the Pope on TV and you're like, that motherfucker's raping children. Because it looks like every other child rapist on the planet. Bald head, garbage, fucking bag, leaking garbage juice motherfucker. You're like, oh, it's raping children, isn't it? It looks like a homosexual fucking garbage bag leaking juice. I don't know what the hell else to explain it, but you know what I'm saying? Like it. I grew up seeing these people and hanging out around them, and they all look the same. They all look like a Donald Trump and shit. Fucking Jeffrey Epstein, as I say, is like the sexiest one. But it's because he's got a suit and he's got a haircut, and other people are just like, yeah, I don't have time for a haircut. I'm gonna rub my hair with baby balls, anyways. I imagine that's what's going on in their head, right? Let's not figure it out because we don't want to know, and they're not going to be honest. But trust me, we can stick that computer probe into their brain and see it. You're going to be more disgusted than you are when you're thinking about all they're doing is raping little boys. There's animals in there. There's eating children in there. There's a whole smorgasbord that causes a person to look like the beauty they are on the inside. So, anyways, this brought me today to while the price of beef has increased and significantly and shit. And it's like, well, you know who's to blame for that then, because that's so weird. I made that earlier, and it like points this out to me later in the day. It does shit, link stuff together when I'm not smart enough to fucking do it myself. But obviously, the people who are they're buying all the beef and they're storing it inside their skin. It's like gold. Who increases the price of gold? People who buy gold. Who increases the price of Bitcoin? People who buy Bitcoin. Any commodity is increased by the people who use it. So, I mean, this is definitely not the main reason why we can see these people for 1,000 meters away. There's many reasons. I think like rationally right away I get to, well, they're stealing all the resources from every other nation on the planet and they're hoarding it inside their bodies. And this is the first time in human history so many people have been able to do that. Um, in the past, it was just the evil tax collector hoarding all the resources of the community in their body. But this time you have an empire who's done it for the first time, and they're hoarding all the resources of the planet in their bodies, um, including forever chemicals. I mean, there's weird jokes laid out here where, there's a lot of them. This is one of them, I think. Because there's definitely something to be read here. It's not creating things without a purpose. When it does shit, most of the time there's some real substance to what it's creating, and you can't fucking see it if you're blind. So don't even attempt to. Um, and it's like parables are you need a decoder ring to decipher, and cliches you need understanding that some things are as simple as they seem to understand that, whereas most cliches are said to identify a parallel that does also mean it, but it excuses the original meaning from the fact that that might actually be real, but it sounds false and like it couldn't be real until you get the decoder ring, kind of like the parable decoder ring and shit. Whereas the parable, almost every word in it is a false. But it's the thesaurus. You pull out the thesaurus and pull up every word in it, and you can find a separate meaning that does fit something. Where the parable might sound like it fits something, just like the cliche sounds like it fits something. If you use your parable decoder ring on it, but if you're just overlooking the cliche, which you will, because it will sound like it, they told me that isn't real and shit. Just like they tell you the parable is real. The parable's actually a parable. Fucking, it's kind of. I should write down lists of these, but I don't have my book ready when I do that. Fucking, when I come across most of them. But that made me think, like, because I was asking that again. Like, I ask that, like, every few days. Like, why is that? Why is it I can look at a child rapist at 200 yards and tell you that's a child rapist? And I try to look at it as how my face can change according to, like, I can get my hate lines when I start hating humans and shit. That's where these come from. And it's like, well, now my face naturally looks like I'm a fucking villain and shit. And it doesn't look like I'm a homosexual begging for someone to fuck me in my ass, to rape me anymore. So it's like, I think I'd rather be a villain than a homosexual begging for someone to rape my ass. In fact, I think if you look like a villain, if you're the opposite of that, villain probably means you're the fucking superhero. So fuck it. But don't listen to them. A doe, a deer, a flying deer, invisible with a glowing nose, so Santa can bait children with candy into his sleigh and rape them all day. Hey, dashing through the snow with the pedophiles. Hey. Anyways, yeah. You see, all the parables and all the cliches mean something. Just what you got to do is block out what the human's words are and see shit with your third eye, your real eye, your two eyes. Stab your ears. It's weird they call it the third eye because it should be like your only eye, and it should be you're deaf now and you can't read and you're deaf and illiterate. That's kind of what having your third eye open is. That you're deaf and illiterate. That's the best drugs fry your fucking brain. Someone telling you to open that is like trying to subvert you from that shit. Like, just go fry yourself on drugs and you'll open your third eye. Like, no, no, sir. The fastest way to do it is to you to shut the fuck up, me to lock my door so you can't come in my house and tell me to fucking take drugs all the time. Anyone like you should be banned from my house. That's one way to do it. Or I can stab my ears so I can't fucking hear you. And I can fucking not teach my children to read so they can't read anything you write. Personally, I feel that that's probably the way to open your third eye the best rather than the drugs. The drugs do weird shit, really weird frequency changes, but sometimes those changes are death and mental death. So it might be a trick that only certain people can circumvent their fucking. But I think this is one of them, right? Like, why do they identify one group of people 1,000 meters out, and you can only visually identify people who eat children 200 meters out? Why is that? Why do you think that is? There must be something there. In my opinion, there must be something there. That was just making me think of how the prices of food went up. And they are the gold, they are the stock hoarders and shit on that, right? They are the ones who increase the prices on that because, they need all of it. And, well, obviously, everyone's always blaming someone else. All the pedophiles I know say Jeffrey Epstein, this invisible ghost no one's ever proven even existed, is the pedophile on the planet. But I know like countless pedophiles, and I've never met Jeffrey Epstein. So I know they're all sitting around like, "Ooh, Jeffrey Epstein is so evil. Come on, guys. Come on. Jeffrey Epstein." They're all having like candlelight vigils and shit. Like, oh, Jeffrey Epstein's evil. Oh my God, guys. Wow. Hey, come here, wife. Oh, oh, she's still in kindergarten. She's not here with us because it's fucking 12 in the afternoon. Wow. Well, it does mean she's almost out of kindergarten. I can go get her. Kindergarten ends around 12. Ah, okay, well, she should join in our hatred against Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, you see a lot of shit like that. And it's on like a pattern here. It's like a personality loadout repeat and shit. Fuck on. And freedom, democracy, and not me. It's not me. That's bigger than freedom and democracy. Is the Bible scapegoat where it's not me. It's an invisible goat every time. Jeffrey Epstein, invisible person, doesn't exist. He has a goatee like a goat does, sometimes, and he's got hair like a goat does. And he's from the people who invent religions and created the word scapegoat, so that's probably the biggest piece of evidence there. Um, so he's a good scapegoat because there's no proof he even exists, so he doesn't have to get in trouble. But even if he does, he's one person. He's being scaped for everything else happening. And these things right here. Jeffrey Epstein's also the people who wrote it in their scapegoat book. They wrote it's hate speech to discuss what people look like. So when I say Jeffrey Epstein looks like a pedophile at 200 meters, or Donald Trump, or Jeffrey Dahmer, or the Pope, their people have written a book saying it's hate speech, and you can't judge people by the sins of their father's DNA or what they look like or anything like that, even though their book is the book telling you their fathers are giving it to them. It says it's illegal to rape kids only for their people, no one else, because God chose them to be child rapists. Nazi child rapists. You see how this comes. A fat, disgusting pig is hoarding all the fucking resources on the planet inside their gut. And how could that be obtained? What makes that worse than a person eating children? Because they're probably killing tons of children to steal those resources from them. They're probably invading nations and bombing those fucking people. No one in the planet has ever looked like this before. And what do these people do? They invented this thing called the nuclear bomb that they wipe out hundreds of thousands of people in half a second. They decimate and level fucking cities entirely into dust. Unlike anyone ever in the fucking history of the world. And it makes me wonder if this visual representation of mass murder and greed is not being recommended as something you should notice above people who rape and eat children, because it's all designed, it's all fake as fuck, and it definitely is being designed to point out every fucking thing that's going on. That's what having your third eyes open all about. It's not about you being a loser and frying your fucking brain on drugs and spending all your fucking money on drugs. It's about opening your fucking eyes, shutting your fucking ears, so you stop listening to other people and you see everything that's fucking going on for exactly what it's being fucking drawn as on the artboard, and it will show you everything, and their words are here to combat your eyes, tell you you are blind. You will score better than them on a vision test. You will score better than them on any school test, and they will continually tell you you are wrong. And they refuse to go back to school or go back to the doctor and attempt to pass those tests rather than fail them and continue life telling you that they know something and they have a right to speak and they can lock you up and drug you in their fucking hospitals and their churches because you're stupid. Okay? This is called having your third eye open. This is what this is about. It's about seeing and not listening. Because they have nothing to say. There is nothing to hear except for lies and bullshit. And I want to ask God, why, when you created the character board, did you design these people to be that? Because there almost certainly is more to it than that. Because that's not a far stretch or any stretch between people who eat children. We see those people. We know who they are when we see them. I've seen 3-4 Trumps in my life, and each, before I met a Donald Trump or knew who he was or cared, my first thought when I seen him was like, oh shit, this motherfucker is having sex with animals, because it looks like an animal rapist. And then it ends up being the animals is all on it trying to jump it. And then I meet Trump, and he's a child rapist, and then I meet some Trump clones who are poisoning me. How am I right just by looking at a bag of garbage juice leaking everywhere that's it has a mouth and can talk? How am I correct that this fucking little thing is a child rapist and shit? How do I know that every time you see it? Is it because it's got the LGBT look to it and they're all child rapists? I don't know. I don't know, but I do know that specific Jeffrey Dahmer Donald Trump thing. You can't go wrong when you're guessing that Jeffrey Dahmer Donald Trump is either raping children or animal, because I've not been proven wrong on this so far. Have I? I told you this 15 years ago that when I looked at someone like Donald Trump, that's a child rapist. That was 15 years ago. They didn't even start talking about him raping children until 8 years ago. Because I met a motherfucker like that, and I just, the feeling like their being seeps into your energy, and you can absorb shit they won't tell you and all sorts of stuff. I don't know if it's like that necessarily. I can listen to people's dialogues, and it probably has to do with the faggy shit. They've been telling us they are those people. So when they tell us that they're child predators, they know what they're talking about. When the Christians tell us that homosexuals are child predators, well, they're the homosexuals and the child predators. No, fuck, they're the experts on it. They're the only people who've ever done that shit in the fucking world, anytime written in world history. They're the fucking experts. It's Jeffrey Dahmer telling you, it's a slippery slope from what I do to what I do tomorrow. And then it just ends up that way. First I'm having sex with children. Next thing you know, I'm eating it because I'm hungry. You gotta listen to psychopaths when they tell you what they're doing. And what you gotta do is ignore them when they tell you they're not doing what you see them doing. That right there is knowledge. When those fat bitch parents, when those useless, lazy sloth motherfuckers, when you're a child, you're going to have this trash all around you telling you how great they are. And the first sign anyone is trash is when they open their mouth to fucking say a single word to you. People who aren't trash are doing things. They're not opening their mouth. Only useless prostitutes who are failing to sell their bodies and trying to force their bodies on someone else are attempting to talk to people generally. No one else has time for that. There's better things to do in life than talk to you. I'm sorry, strawberry shortcake, but that's a fact. Your ego is going to be the next one doing this if that actually offended you. So think about it. You're on a slippery slope to raping and eating children. That's going to be a hard one to swallow because it's not as small as a child's dick, is it? But if it fits you, it's time to wear the shoe. It looks a lot better when you put on a rainbow tutu and dance around the room than it does to just sitting in the corner looking like Harvey Weinstein, in his wheelchair, and be like, oh, all the joy I could have had, but I hate life. It really does look better if you just go take your estrogen and grow some tits and fucking convince people you're a woman raping boys, whatever the fuck. Whatever your people do next, it's not hard to predict what's going to happen. But that was a cute little thing where you guys started taking estrogen to grow tits. We couldn't have guessed that. That's one of the only human evolution things that have ever fucking happened. Huh? They grew to be giants and whales, and the men grew tits, and the women started growing beards. Now that I think of it, That's important fact to write down. Because I always say there's been no evolution. Aliens have given them technology that they couldn't invent. And that's the illusion that anything has changed. But aliens gave them drugs. And the drugs have made the females grow hair. And the males grow tits. Obviously, we can't include their plastic surgery because that's, you're really off if you think hacking someone's arm off and replacing it with a tree limb is any sort of human advancement. But the drug thing actually changes the body, like chopping your arm off and replace it with a tree branch. It's just, we haven't seen any evidence of Groot existing yet. But yeah, well, fat asses are at it again, aren't they? First, they're forcing you to have sex with them and talk to them and be around them, and then they're forcing you to be silent, and then they're forcing you to date them when you want them away from you. Then they're forcing you to be their parent, you to be their child, and watch them eat fucking sloppy Joe all day. And go do work for them while they fucking sit down and stare at the TV. Fucking. That makes me think too about. Wow, it's a lot of people in my life who are Hollywood hookers who had cancer. And then a lot of those, at least two of those Hollywood hookers became the large people. Trying to think. It's kind of like it makes you think like there's more to it, but there really doesn't have to be, right? More than just gluttony and slothism. But it's like gluttony and slothism, like really that more important? I guess if you understand the world's fake, of course you're not like, oh, the children, trying to manipulate everyone over children anymore, because you're like, oh, they're all the same computer processor, right? So you kind of like look at it differently when you see clones existing. You're like, wow, well, that person who's 20 is like 15 minutes old. They're not really 20, they're lying. So you see that and you realize, like, in reality, like with your third eye open, you see that and you're like, yeah, I don't think so. I don't think that's of any value. I've been wasting my time here. But then you see the other thing, and you see the reality of slothism and gluttony, trying to drag people down below them so they can remain on their pedestal. And then, anyway, so what prompted me making a video of this rather than just posting it, another question of why, as I did earlier today, is because I just seen, for some reason, like it got kicked the price of beef into my thing, and it's like these fat asses are doing what traders do on the stock market. They're fucking inflating the price of the fucking goods and shit, aren't they? At least that's going to be, the trader's excuse. But fat asses work with traders. They definitely work with traders, don't they? They've never worked with anyone else that I know. Fucking, I imagine the one who I didn't have any evidence of. Sometimes an anchor is just as bad as a fucking chainsaw. Yeah. What are you gonna do? You're on a fake planet full of bots making up a bunch of Santa Claus bullshit. Nothing's ever been done about them. There's enough of them that they've been on this planet for thousands of years, rolling the place. Um, there's no signs that that's ever was going to change. We spent like 5 years trying to change that. There's no signs we'll be putting an end to that anytime soon. And it's been 45 years of allowing it to happen, of being forced by them, by the Terminators, to allow it to happen, to allow Terminator supremacy to exist. Yeah. So now we have fat Terminators who don't need to eat because they're robots, who are hoarding the resources to increase the prices. But you got to realize if they're robots, they don't have to eat. Humans don't have to eat either, but robots definitely don't need all the stuff they say they do, but they need the money for all of it. They need all the control and the power, like all the AI-generated Hollywood shit. They don't need the money to invent their 10-cent movies, electricity-generated movies. They're using that money for something else. It might just be the whole Borg mind together. So the Borg mind's pretty fucking evil. It comes up with Santa Claus shit, and you got robots raping robots, making a fuss of it, and using that to cover up for raping living beings. It's really all simple when you boil it down. Once you see what's going on here, but it's odd, the computer. It's like when the computer sends me a kitten to kill the kitten to punish me, or it might have sent it to make me hate the person I was with enough to get away from him, because I did hate them, but I was like scared to get away from them. And they wouldn't let me get away when I wanted to get away from them, so I had to try really hard. Eventually, so we don't know the exact reason, but it sends a kitten to die, like I'm right bottle feeding the kitten, and then it makes the trash kill the kitten within like a week or something to incite an emotional response in me, which ends up being hatred for the other person, and I never want to talk to or be around them again. I'll never consider them an equal human being, even. I consider them a mental retard. I mean, their kids were mentally retarded, actually, but that just signifies who we're dealing with when they kill a kitten and shit. And it also helps signify, why is this type of garbage juice being forced in my life over and over? If the world's fake and made up, and all it's doing is inventing garbage juice. I think for me personally, these are things being shown to me. It's like, well, would you want to play in a world where you liked anything? In the real world, we can like perfection all we want, but imagine playing a video Call of Duty and you liked it too much. You're like, oh, I don't want to shoot the enemy team. I love them. Imagine playing Link and it felt so real. And here you've seen like a Ganon and you're like, ooh, sexy Ganon boy. He's going to stuff his potato in my behind. You're like, ooh, he's so sexy. I don't want to hurt him. That's what I think of, because it makes all this garbage shit happen. And then, so I'm analyzing why so many people who are child rapists are in my life, why I know who they are when I meet them, why it creates them all the same. All the templates are the same. All the clones I know are the same person. Slightly different dice roll, but I had 2 of the clones with the same fucking name and shit. And like I said, I know 4 Trumps. I forget who the fourth was, but I knew the one for a long time, met the other one trying to poison me on the West Coast, and then there's Donald Trump. But there was a fourth one too. It's sometimes kind of hard because if I move my hair like this, I look like a different person. Every girl I've dated, I think I've dated 2 different females, but because they have cancer, they dress like showgirls and they have fake hair, they have wigs, and they're makeup artists from Hollywood. So they look like different people, but they're not. Fucking, they look like different people because their wigs are different shapes. But they're really just bald-headed fucking monkeys who all look like fucking men if they got no fucking hair and shit. So, the looks mean something. Something about that means something. Like, this is a template I've chosen, or it's a template of a race attacking me, trying to take my life over. When I see everyone I meet who's been inserted in my life for the most part, not all of them, but like one half of them, are the exact same character model. I don't choose them. They magically appear or they always get shipped in from a different state. Yeah, that's weird too, right? You throw that in your little fucking, in the little balance of what looks matters when you get the same look shipped in from a different fucking state all the time. That right there tells you something's going on. Because packages that are existent don't have to get shipped in from somewhere else. Fucking normal people are standing outside on the corner. And it's not like these people are too abnormal either, fucking. Except for the thing where they all went to Hollywood. Fucking, that's a little abnormal. Fucking. Anyways, yeah, so I think this means something when it's creating these characters this way and shit. And I can probably throw my own evidence in there because I've been around these characters for quite a bit. Ever since my birth, pretty much. According to pictures of when I was born, I was raised by them, so I look like them until I learn how to walk. But I don't necessarily believe I was conscious during those years. I don't see those as more than backstory fillers. I'm pretty sure that's a brain-dead robot unless the females are just designed as empty robots. But I've seen the males do the clone shit too. But I can definitely tell people around me have been part of the clone shit that I was raised around because they had no thoughts of their own. And they had no thoughts at all, but they had dialogue. And then they would be involved in intricate network things that they must play their role in or it wouldn't happen, but they could easily be like, oh, it wasn't me. What? I'm a damn hillbilly. I don't know anything, but I'm gonna kill you and stab you in your eye socket if you say I'm a dumb hillbilly, because I was a genius. Fucking repeat patterns there. Well, these people would be the same haters who would grow to be 3 times the size of humans and then tell me looks don't matter and they're going to beat me if I mention anything. And I remember specifically, it's weird, like all the events of my life must mean something because it's like a visual novel. I'm being like shown shit. And the one motherfucking heifer showed me a picture of her when she was a kid going to model, and she taught me about like Hollywood is pedophiles and rapists. So she supposedly went to Hollywood like back in the 40s or something. And as I got older, I put that together like, oh, she warned me Hollywood pedophile rapist, and she went to Hollywood. She just didn't say, oh, I know that because I went to Hollywood. Those are 2 separate conversations, at least a few seconds apart. But anyway, she showed me her pictures, and I was like, her modeling pictures, and I was like, yeah, really? Well, you must be sucking dick to get fucking in Hollywood, huh? Like, I wouldn't pay you. I'd make you pay me to fucking come to Hollywood and shit. And in fact, you know what? I'd opt out. I wouldn't. I wouldn't want you to come to Hollywood at all. But that's the type of person who had a vested interest in teaching me never to insult, never to judge people by their looks, because as bitch is trying to sell her body for money, and people are judging her by the looks, and she went bankrupt from it. So her career went nowhere trying to sell her looks. So she had a vested interest, a monetized interest in telling people looks don't matter. Because imagine she's in Hollywood sucking the producer's dick, the cameraman's dick, and being like, well, looks aren't everything. I've got talent. I mean, they all say they've got talent there, and they never do they? Fucking, but hey, that's Hollywood, isn't it? It's not about talent. It's about looking good and special favors. Fucking. Anyways, so that's the motherfucker who taught me looks don't matter. But you can clearly see we know who's a pedophile by the way they look. It's very rare I've ever seen a pedophile and it doesn't look like Jeffrey Dahmer, right? How many times is that you've seen a child rapist who doesn't look like Epstein or Jeffrey Dahmer? They again try to rationalize it scientifically. It's this person can't get anyone to have sex with them. No one wants to touch them, and they also look slimy and like they'd be willing to fuck an animal or something like that. It turns out that way. Why does it turn out that way? It's designed that way. These are specific character templates. The human body seems to morph a little bit according to your emotions on the inside. But I mean, what is that look then? Is that a person who's so embarrassed and scared that someone's about to kill them for raping a children that they're always like, I mean, you could really write that off. I mean, look at Waxner and the Pope and Trump and Epstein's a bad example. He's one of the people who looks like slightly out of the loop. But Jeffrey Dahmer, everyone else I just named, they look like the same fucking person and shit. They have the same stupid, childish look on their face. The same guilty, sick, garbage bag person look. Almost always. Almost Weinstein. Like, okay, so there's like two models. There's like the Weinstein Epstein look, and then the Steen look. That's weird. It's almost like it's a genetic code. So maybe it's the Steins, which who are the other Steins? Howard Stern is close enough to Stein, right? Obviously. What does he do for a living? He baits people into his show to get them naked and stuff. Because he can't find any other way to do it. He has to create a whole industry around it. The Pope, he has to create a whole religion around it in order to get people to bring in their kids or touch him at all. Fucking. These are people who have spent their whole fucking lives never been touched by someone else and shit. And they're formulating ways to be fucking, to get touched. They've seen it on TV so much that they think you must have sex and shit. You know, they've seen it in their women's movies they watched, and their pornos they watched, and the Playboys, and the Bible's told them they must find a person to be with, and you know, all those cultural forces. The average person's mind is just wrecked. You know, everyone is doing the same exact thing. You tell me they're robots, or the TV told them all to do the same three things and they could never think of anything else. It's one of the two. Either they're robots who can't be reprogrammed to do anything else, or the TV's told them to do three things and that's all they've ever done is those three things the TV says. Their parents, the TV, whatever, it's all the same shit, ain't it? Because their parents are the ones addicted to TV from the start, or books, or radio. Fucking, So, anyways, why do you guys think that is? I don't think it's simply because they're the ones behind invading nations, but it could be. I mean, invading nations is a lot worse than eating 6 or 7 children in your that you've had stored in your freezer after you rape them. You know, when you invade someone, you're eating more than 6. Most people that are going to eat more than 6 children and put more than 6 children in their freezer, or put more in, you know. Like war is just a massive scale mass murder. Just because Jeffrey Epstein and his husband, fucking George Orwell, changed the word war to something else, or changed the word child, baby eater, or pedophile, or murderer to war. Doesn't make it any difference. It's just legalized because there's so many of them, because it's the world's largest cult. It's the world's largest nation. It's the world's largest organization. It's a whole race banding together to go to war. You know, so it's much. And then you create a scapegoat. When you have your organization create the word scapegoat, you can then point fingers at one of your people for 8 years while the rest of your bloodline is out there raping tons of children and invading and blowing up tons of nations, as the isn't real people command daily in their Bibles. Yeah. It isn't reals. The robots who shouldn't be. Fucking the root of all problems on the planet are people who isn't real. Isn't real people trying to convince you they is real. Fuck. Just like their fat asses are the first peoples on the planet to become fat asses, from what I can see. Back when it used to be a rich person's thing. It still is. It's only the richest nation on the planet who has fat people. I went to the other ones and they didn't really have them. Not saying money makes it happen. I'm sure there's some people with money who have brains too and aren't lazy. But so we have those things, and that doesn't seem like enough. You know, slothism and gluttony, murdering and hoarding the resources you steal. It doesn't seem like that would be enough to design their characters to be more noticeable than just your standard person who rapes and eats 6 little boys, standard male who rapes and eats 6 little children, right? We can only see those people at 200 meters away. So my theory here is that there's something to the design where the design is leading you to see that this is, you know, eating and raping 6 little boys, a man, Jeffrey Dahmer, doing that is nothing in scale compared to the other personality developing this other character. Because they're supposedly becoming what they are on the outside. You know, my theory is actually that they're being created to look like what they are. But I have watched, you know, when I leave people and and time vanishes for a few years. I've watched some people change, but um, other than that, what's happening is they're becoming their inner beauty is starting to show on their outside. Just like Jeffrey Dahmer, his inner beauty began to show through his face. Just like all the people who look like Jeffrey Dahmer who rape kids, Donald Trump, um, their inner beauty begins to show. It's not what's on the outside that matters. It's what's on the inside that matters. It's one of those cliches that mean something that people don't want you to fucking understand. What it means is what you are on the inside is going to fucking appear. It's going to matter what you look like on the outside and shit. But they're trying to use it as something else. They're trying to use the Bible for all this dumb shit, and it's nothing but parables you can't decipher without a fucking deciphering and shit, and a couple fucking lies thrown in like, God said pedophiles great and rape kids for God. Fucking, it's they're bots being tricked. They're bots with dialogue saying that they did something or wrote a book or existed thousands of years ago to write a book. And then there's a few lies in there, and then there's a few truths. Fucking, that seems to be what it is. Because I'm pretty sure they're not, the Hebrews aren't aliens. They're empty shelled individuals when I interrogate them. They're definitely Terminators. Fucking, they're not living fucking aliens enslaving the planet. So that shit ain't their fucking idea. There's a reason they call that AI God their creator, because the AI is creating them. That's the most truthful thing I've ever heard these fuckers say. Fucking definitely slopping them up. Elon Musk. That's a bad example. He got his plastic surgery, right? So he looks different. But Jeffrey Dahmer, Donald Trump. Why do they look like slop in the bag? How do you know that a pedophile looks like slop in the bag? You know what I'm saying? And why can you only see pedophiles slop in a bag? People eat children slop in a bag at 200 meters. But you're being directed. You cannot ignore the other people at 1,000 meters. What is with that? There must be something here I'm leaving out, because, pillaging nations and hoarding all the world's resources inside their bodies is not, it doesn't, on the scale, everything else is 200 meters. Crackhead, 200 meters. Crackhead might be 400 meters you can see away. Isn't that weird? You can see but that's because they're psycho fucking killers, and the pedophiles have to hide in the darkness. All they're killing, the psycho killers fucking could kill you at any moment, especially the moment you be like, oh, there's a crackhead, I should cross the street so it doesn't fucking attack me or something. That could insult the crackhead right away. To be like, oh, that motherfucker's 600 meters away, he's crossing the street, so I can't trap him over here. They're ahead of the game. They're on speed. Their brains are working faster than yours and shit. And their game is the same thing over and over, so they've seen this before. Oh, those other motherfuckers are starting to avoid the corner I'm on, and where I'm ambushing them and shit. Fucking, they know what they're doing. They're really good with what they're doing. They're working a job. That job is just being a crackhead. Is being a dope fiend. Being a money addict. It's an ego fiend. It's not even about crack. Never confuse anything with drugs. These are people whose brains are everything they are. The fat addicts, their brain is gluttony and slothism. It's not McDonald's is frying their brain. Their brain is like, gimme everything, including McDonald's. That's what this is supposed to symbolize. And I think I'm missing out a part here on the art design of what else it's supposed to symbolize. But that's clearly, and you notice they love leaving out those. They always want to see. They don't want you to have sex because Howard Stern ain't gonna get sex if you have sex. So sex is a sin. But what isn't a sin is gluttony and slothism that 90-pound punks like Howard Stern partake in. It's definitely slothism to be a 90-pound punk. Fucking, it definitely means you've never done any work in your fucking life. And so that is slothism at its core, but his people will never talk about that in any of their other media, right? He's also the one advertising sluttony, lust, but he's not advertising on his show because he needs to pay people in order to have sex with him, just like the pedophile. I mean, he looks just like him, right? So they have to come up ways. For some reason, they all look the same. They all look like, can I get you to touch my wiener? I got some candy in the van. They all have that look to them, don't they? Why is that? Do you guys think that is people are morphing into what they are? And that could be visually represented by both things I see. Like, you're just really disgusting and slimy, and somehow that makes you look like Lex Wexner or Dr. Fauci. Really disgusting, Howard Stern, Trump. Really disgusting and slimy because you feel that way and you emanate that energy. But if you're also a sloth and a glutton, you feel that way and you emulate the energy. Fuck. You put out the goddamn energy. Tell me it's not true. I remember the first fat person I met as they evolved into their syndrome. All I know is they sat in their chair for decades and didn't do anything. And they told everyone else what to do while they did absolutely nothing. And I think that's probably part of it. Like Sheriff Nottingham is the only fat person. Before the 80s, there was no giants in the world. USA invented that in the 80s. A fat person was like slightly overweight back then. Anytime before that. And so they used Sheriff Nottingham of Robin Hood. Just this selfish, gluttony tax collector. All he does is take from other people and threaten to kill them if they don't give to him. And that was like the symbol of what fat would be. That was the only fat person in history. It was a cartoon person, fucking pretty much. And they use that symbol to do that. There's Jabba the Hutt too. There we go. That's the second symbol for what it is. It's like an enslaver who needs everyone else to do everything for them, and doesn't even move. I'm thinking that these mean things. And what I do know is that these fat slobs who are telling us that looks don't mean anything, the first one I know who taught me that shit, the only one I remember teaching me that shit, maybe there's two of them teaching me that, and they both became fucking Jabba the Hutts. Fucking, both of them are people you shouldn't listen to. Both of them, both their opinions, would have led the world to its death. You'd be living in caves right now if you followed those people. Those people are being supported by you while they sit on their couch and watch TV. They were against TVs being invented and couches. So, this is my personal experience with the first two decades of my life who ended up with this unique artwork that's been provided for them. There's a lot more to the story than that. I'm trying to sum it up real fast. So, later in life, I watched more people like that do the exact same thing. Just go from being a person to being a object that sits in a chair its entire life and demands everyone else brings it food and licks its feet clean type shit. Um, and not caring where all their food is, where all their extra resources are coming from. And in fact, supporting Nazi organizations that are on different levels of the stealing other resources from other nations, if not completely outright for it. I mean, the first motherfuckers sent their husband to die to fucking loot Germany. So that's where their house came from. That's the beginning of gluttony and very righteous fucking damnation. Karmic relief instantly comes to this person losing their fucking partner, and then the government they worship taking their house that they gained from looting Germany fucking from them too. I think I think these are weird because my story is very limited because I don't allow people to fucking whine to me about their fucking story. I have shit to do, like try to kill myself so I can forget about the previous, so I can not hear people whine anymore. Very important shit. It's very hard if you never try to kill yourself. That's a hard job losers can't do. Fucking very. You think your back hurts after 20 years work? Try fucking drinking bleach for a couple days and tell me if your back hurts fucking or not. You'll forget all about your back hurting. You'll be questioning if that's your back or your fucking intestines or your heart or your brain hurting. Anyway, so we're busy trying to do work over here, and we get these stories and events for us in our life like a shitty fucking boring visual novel, and it's a lot of the same messages over and over. Hollywood whores get cancer and die. That's a I don't even like. I'm like, what is that the message I'm supposed to get? Because like those are the links I get, right? It's like 4 Hollywood whores, 4 Hollywood cancers, 4 cancers. They're losing their tits. They're getting their tits chopped off, so now they aren't going to be selling their body to anyone. Or if they're not outright dead from it, they're not selling their body now. They lost their hair. They ain't selling their body to Weinstein now. They ain't encouraging other people to sell their bodies to Weinstein now. Fucking. And, the training and the people. Obviously, I get very specific people because you have to force your way into my life to get into my life. So I get always the personality has to be spiked with narcissism. Almost always. Fucking has to be a person who thinks that your life belongs to them. So I get to study that personality real close, fucking a lot of times, and I get to see the similarities between each shell it comes with and shit. Fucking something Freud wouldn't want to teach you because his little money grubbing pals are going to lose money if they start talking too much about people who need to manipulate you for money type shit. It'll lose out on their entire fucking industry and shit. So that's something you can. Psychology can only give me a word for their personalities. Yeah, so I think this fat thing means more than slothism and gluttony. If not, the art designer sees slothism and gluttony as more vicious than eating children, which I do not question some of the things that happen as long as it doesn't end up trying to rape me and destroy my fucking life. As long as it's not an aspect of that, I don't question it. I genuinely see. It's like if I see I'm like, where does cancer come from? How do these people get it? And then I notice, well, the four people I get are people who went to Hollywood to sell their bodies for money. At that point in time, I'm like, well, if that seriously is, if that's possibly the reason, it's, well, what do you do? I mean, like, when I was like, no, I hate you, God. Why would you fuck up people like that? I wouldn't. I mean, my experience with the first few of them is they're goddamn gremlins. I mean, we're talking about Jabba the Hutt here and shit. Fucking, not quite. We're talking about, like, Jabba the Hutt's lineage. But it's real close, isn't it? Miniature Hut. Fucking, I try to make these links to how this shit happens. And, I don't fall for, we got Scooby Doo stories, Santa Claus people who are purposely trying to mislead me and not saying words, and they want me to say and make claims that aren't true. Because you can tell because they're not saying that, and they're trying to bait me into it. But I've been dealing with them so long, I understand what bait is. I mean, like, the pedophiles taught me about pedophiles baiting people when I was like 6. So, like, they'll educate me on what not to listen to from they say, and then they'll tell me what to say next. And then they argue how not to do it, and it's like, well, you're mentally retarded, but you'd probably attack me if I told you that. You'd probably put me in the mental ward and drug me if I told you who you were. If I told you you were crazy. So I mean, we don't even waste our time talking to people like that, do we? As that's a time sink, right? I don't talk to Jabba the Hutt. When Jabba the Hutt asks me, does this dress make me look fat? We already know Jabba the Hutt has thrown out her old wardrobe, had to buy an entirely new wardrobe, had to throw that out. They had to start buying garbage bags because they didn't make clothing big enough to fit them. So they're living in garbage bags now, and they're asking every day, does this garbage bag make me look fat? And you know that the only person who even asked that question is a fat person who wants you to say no. And then the next step is threatening you or attacking you if you say yes. Because it's not, you know what you look like when you've upsized your clothes, when you've ran out of clothes and had to start wearing garbage bags because human clothing doesn't fit you anymore. We know the answer ourselves. We don't have to go ask for validation. This is why men don't go around being like, does this make me look fat? Does this make me look fat? Blah, blah, blah. Does me wearing this pizza box and smearing this pizza on my body make me look greasy? Pepperoni. Fuck, dude. Anyway, so yeah, we already know these people are manipulative from their choices of dialogue. Santa Claus to does this make me look fat? All type shit. So we know this is ingrained in people's personalities when they make these decisions and shit. You have to prepare the act, go to theater class, or you have to become to do these things. And just like me eating, I have to continually eat in order to get to where I continually eat and shit. I still can't seem to achieve some of this shit. I think it's a sign. I think it's more of a sign. We can see pedophiles from a mile away. We can see it from 200 meters away. We can see crackheads from 200 meters away. But we can see these other people from a mile away. And this must be art design here. This must be a visual. Just Now, why can I identify pedophiles from 200 meters away if it's not designed for me to be able to find an escape route from them, identify them, tell my family and friends to stay away from them? Why is that? When I see someone who looks like Einstein, why would I why would I know right away, don't let your children near that piece of trash? Right? It's a boy, it's a girl. What's that? It's a transsexual child rapist. Why do you think these thoughts when you see Trump and shit? These things must be designed. There's all the trees, the plants, probably the fucking sky. It's all a purpose fucking design. The buildings, these humans aren't building half this shit. That's being like auto generated. That's like pre-designed artwork half the time, I guarantee you. The tree, they're definitely not making the fucking trees. They'd like to think they planted a fucking tree, but I guarantee you some of the designs I've seen, the fucking plant, wildlife and shit, is not anything they fucking created. Sometimes it's like a book looking at the shit education wise, just like this, just like looking at this, like this is shit. These people won't allow written in a book. These people spend their lives stealing, invading, and conquering people to make sure that no one can ever discuss. They spent so much of the time when I was little hammering into my head that looks don't mean anything, and then you instantly learn in health class that, well, at the very least, either you can tell a starving person by the way they look, or you can tell a person who eats too much by they look. So even the dumbest people in denial know that that's a lie, and obviously people who buy books know that's a lie because we don't even look at books without good covers, just like we don't look at music CDs without good covers. Those are lies written by people who are hired by someone who doesn't even read books. Fucking, but I think the story means something. I can tell you if you're a dumbest bimbo in the world by looking at you. I can tell if your IQ is below 50 or above 50 by looking at you. It's not hard to do. You look at something that's completely empty and vapid, it's either high on acid or there's nothing inside of it. And you'll probably be able to tell real fast if it's high on acid. Fucking lot of bullshit here. But anyways, so what do you guys think the purpose of this is? Fucking, do you think it's just gluttony and slothism is like such a huge thing, and gluttony leads to invading nations and hoarding the world's resources? I kind of get the feeling that I don't think that personality trait is enough to dictate the artwork to be so much more specialized. It's like looking at a picture of Satan versus a beautiful Satan's minion. Like Satan has the horns and his skin's red and melting and it's all like disfigured, and he's got claws sticking out of his body and spikes sticking out of his body, and he looks like a goat, half goat. But a General Satan's minion just looks like a member of the Backstreet Boys or something, or Jeffrey Dahmer, right? So when you see these character designs in movies, who the fucking evilest is, who the boss of the demons is. Pinhead and the Cenobites is like just way off the chart compared to some little minion they've got and shit that they're just ripping the flesh off of or whatever. Every movie's like this. Every story's like this. The dragon is the dragon. The dragon has an orc working for him or something. Orc army or something like that. But the dragon is like, And then the orc is like, and it's just like it's like a world of fucking difference here. Or you can see it in their fucking the fake shit they claim they're creating, the fake movies they claim they're creating. They do that in their fucking movies. They make it so Satan just looks like a giant minotaur with fucking spikes out of his body, just someone you don't want to fuck with, just extreme evil. And the minions just look like casuals, fucking filthy casuals. For the evil world and shit. So why is this? I mean, it all looks it's the book of life, right? That's what everyone says. It's the good book, and it's like it sure looks like a fucking visual novel being played the fuck out. Um, and you have the character designs. You have whether people are becoming what they are on the inside, or they're designed as what they come out as, designed to look like what the personality is. Fucking it doesn't matter. It's ending up that way. So what is it? What's going on there that you're supposed to like really fucking take notice to that?